the only vivid memory of that night to me was just how somebody in the back of the car says like, "Oh, I'm the founder of Carpool," and me thinking like, "Okay, cool." And then having him forcibly show his ID to me. Look,
No, really, I am.
Yeah.
Take a picture.
Only Johnny Manziel could be cooler than this for you. I promise. Trust me, I'm Jeff Schaffelbein.
Yeah, and
Or
I'm
as
like,
Jeff
yeah.
likes to call him, Johnny Manziel.
Oh, yeah, BeatiDudes. Welcome to the BeatiDudes Monday edition. We're going to have such a blast today. This is a show for Christian men that are walking in authentic fraternity with one another, and we're growing in our walk with the Lord while also enjoying humor and holiness. My name is Jeff Schaffelbein. I'm very glad to be with you in this third season, rocking season of the BeatiDudes, joined by Beata himself, Nick Besner,
Yeah, that's right.
and Dudes, Paul Kolker.
That is I. I don't know. It seemed appropriate at
I always
the time.
think if you're only an audio listener, you're like, who is this Paul?
I don't know. I mean, it's just, I can jump into whatever voice. This is Ethel. My name's Ethel.
If this was your voice, I wouldn't invite you into this.
That's fair. My name's Ethel. I'm from Midlothian, Texas. Nice to meet y'all.
The good news is we actually don't have any Midlothian listeners, so we're
Oh,
good.
that's good. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Listen, we are welcoming back somebody that we did an incredible episode with that you will never see.
Which is why we're doing this one again.
This poor guy came in after a marathon of us filming 8 different shows, really.
4 guests, though.
Four
Yeah,
guests,
and
yeah.
it was hot in the studio. We had DJ equipment, all this stuff going. Paul
Circuit.
was sick.
Yeah, I was sick that day and getting worse by the second by the time
Paul
we had
at
these
the end
guys.
of the day was like,
And then what did we decide to do? Why not put 2 guys in one chair?
I mean, basically, it was 5 people around this table.
Oh, and
Which-
you and I were splitting a mic. So we are redoing this with our good friend, Austin Wyble. Welcome for your first and
Yeah.
last time ever.
maybe.
I'll hold you to
I'll open it up. Like, potentially he could come back in
Fair.
the future. I'm not.
Yes, but not because
consider this-
not because we messed this
Correct.
episode up.
Consider
Yes.
this your audition. Not,
Thank you.
Austin,
Glad to be here.
it's not the first time that we've doubled you down like this.
No.
You went on the radio with me and Paul, and the radio station crashed.
Yeah, like the power went out. It was the weirdest thing.
To think that many people were tuning in. that we
Yes,
shut it
that
down.
was what it was.
It was us.
That's how it works, right?
it's the pull.
It
It's
was
the pull
what-
of Austin Wyble.
Was it? What are the other things that broke the internet? Kardashian's dress,
Oh, gosh. Maybe we just let's
Yuri versus Lonel, or whatever this.
Yanni,
Yeah, Yanni
and Laurel.
So close.
That was like 2013, I think.
My brain broke that day.
Laurel. Yanni. Laurel.
Welcome, Austin.
And then the blue and black dress.
Oh, that still haunts me.
You wake up in cold
It
sweat.
was like either blue, black, or gold, white.
Yeah.
yeah,
It
well,
was definitely
black.
gold, white.
it was a color theory thing, and yeah, it's based on what color it was against and
Yeah,
what lighting
yeah,
you were in.
yeah.
So yeah.
But what if everybody's looking at the same screen? That couldn't possibly be true.
No, but the color of the light that you're seeing it in
Right.
has an effect. So if it's an orangish light, it like changes the color.
So my challenge on this, and I'm very serious, I took my entire family and lined them up on the couch, and we all saw different things.
Well, okay,
Whoa.
so but then you're also dealing with the cones and rods in your own eye. So there's like a whole variety of things affecting.
Cones, rods, light theories.
I got
Yeah.
all kinds.
Yeah. I'm no scientist, but I play one on TV.
I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
Nice.
Austin, you are a pillar in all 3 of our lives, which I don't know
Ooh.
what that even exactly means.
I'm happy to be that.
And even the other day, somebody told me that you were the best person at asking questions. And I was like, no, I know. I watched him do this. We bought a house through Austin Wyble. He's a realtor, everybody. And when we were buying the house, I was like, I watch you ask different questions with my wife than with me, than with other people, but all with this intensity of purpose. You're incredible at this.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
So do it.
So go.
What do you got?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't work as well on the spot, but
Yeah.
I have appreciated that, and it's a really great compliment that you've
Yeah.
paid me, and yeah,
Yeah, you're intentionally focused on the other person. I think
try to be.
is what it boils down to.
and I think there's so many different things, like, because you get to go, especially in real estate, within the context of like, hey, I'm helping you through something you do probably once every 10 years, give or take on average, and it's incredibly emotional, it's big, it's one of the larger financial decisions you'll ever make, and I'm oftentimes dealing with a husband and a wife who are different.
They are different.
Yeah.
That never happens.
Yeah.
That never happens.
Breakthrough here. That's scientist.
You know, I found it works well when you are more different.
There's something to that too. And so there's that element of trying to be like, well, how do I make sure that I provide the best service that I can to both parties, because they're both my clients. And so I think it comes with like a level of like, what can I do to know them? And usually that comes with what can I ask them?
Well,
how can they reveal themselves?
You ask real questions, and that's kind of what I'm getting to. You don't. None of your questions, although they might start off light, it's not surface level. You're getting into like what joys do people have? What are your expectations? What is something in this process so far that's been surprising to you? And I find that you are able to get from people real emotion and probably the answers that other realtors are like looking for, but they're looking in all the wrong places.
Yeah, I'm far less concerned with what you want in your house and why than why you want it.
Yeah.
And that speaks to like your heart. And people buy their whys at the end of the day.
So when I told you I wanted to buy Paul Kolker's childhood home, you were like,
why? Because I'm a big timer. I big time people.
Do you want to come to your house for dinner?
Yes, I've wanted to for so long.
Now I know why you bought that house, Jeff.
Boy, didn't that all get awkward. Austin is the one who made this all happen because I couldn't even get the realtor to answer the phone. And then I was like, called him and he's like, I know which house you're talking about. He had no idea it was a Kolker house at that point either.
I did
so.
not.
That's so funny. I mean, it has changed significantly since we lived in it, but it's still wild going back over to visit you there.
It's funny because all these like people that are part of the St. Anne community, they were dropping off food with all this stuff going on with our family, and one of them's like, you know, I had my first kiss back in your guest house. I'm like, what?
No way.
Yeah, it was last week. No. No. Yeah, but that house has been there since 92, I think.
You know exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I had to
That's
think about it
amazing.
for a sec, but it's
That's
like
amazing.
91 or 92. I forget when we finished building it, but my parents were the ones who like helped design it and lay it all out. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's wild.
And how long did you live there?
Only a couple of years. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was timing of things with my brothers being born. Part of the reason we moved into that house in the first place was because my younger brother Matthew was being born, and so we were outgrowing the house that we started in on Heather Glen, and then my youngest brother being born, but like timing with work stuff and like sales of my dad's business and stuff. I forget what all the details are, but it was basically, well, we might have overshot, so let's split the difference and find something that's kind of more of a middle ground.
When I always tell
house.
people, because we had Father Kevin Kolker on here, that he had some of his very first diapers in my house. So
Also true.
I've never said that, but I did just now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to clip it out and send it to my brother.
Yeah.
Love it. Hey, Austin, let's go way back. This is a show for Christian men walking together in faith. Have you always had a strong faith? Is this something you grew into? Let's hear about little Austin.
Yeah. Little Austin, so grew up in like a Catholic household. So my mom raised us, and my brother's Catholic. So I have two younger brothers, and grew up in like a small town in Southeast Texas. So a lot of the environment around like, well, what do you do in your free time revolves around like, well, what are you involved in at school? And then what is like your community like in the church? So mostly like a Baptist area that I grew up in, but we had like the town where I grew up is like, I had my Catholic church on one corner, opposite my credit union, opposite my grocery store, opposite my gas station.
Yeah.
Everything you needed right there, four corners.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it was just what I knew, being a cradle Catholic, and so kind of going into that environment of like, hey, these are where my friends are, this is where I spend my time, and I had a good experience like with Life Teen through our church, and like a really great experience with my youth minister growing up. So she was like a really influential part of my life, and just wanted to be around those people because they made me feel good and I enjoyed them and we were friends. But the depth of my spiritual life was not really getting there at that stage. So middle school, high school.
What people don't realize is if you're from Southeast Texas, you have two paths, good or not good. So I think you chose wisely.
Isn't that
different from everywhere else,
Yeah.
right, Jeff?
Right.
How?
I was trying not to say meth lab.
Yeah.
Well, and there it is.
Because that was behind the local
The not
grocery shop.
good.
I see. That particular brand of not good. Okay.
So yeah, I think the area like I was lucky enough to grow up in like a town that was, it was very safe, like very community friendly. Like a lot of my childhood favorite memories were like we're getting the neighborhood kids together on a Saturday to like put together a wiffle ball tournament and like a big backyard kind of thing. Like that was the environment I got to grow up in, which is super fortunate. And you have that pro con of like everybody knows everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nick, you probably had this experience
Very
too.
much.
Yeah, and I think Lindsay's quite a bit smaller than where I grew up.
Promise.
Are you purposely not saying the name of your city like
Yeah.
it's some secret?
It's honestly, I always feel like it's hard for me to say it without like that Southeast Texan accent. I grew up in a town called Nederland, which I usually just say Beaumont because nobody's like, where the heck is Nederland? Yeah. So that's like 17,000 people.
Yeah.
Du bist ein Niederlander, ja?
Yeah, exactly. Founded by the
that's
Dutch.
Roughly 17 times larger than
Sure.
Lindsay, Texas.
Yeah.
But don't go looking for it. It's like finding a needle in a haystack.
There it is.
You gotta enunciate that one. Make sure you get it right. So, I think like growing up, I was fortunate to have that. My dad was actually Baptist. He converted after like 15 years of marriage. They came into the church, and kind of one of those ways where like dads do. It's just like one day I felt like he was like Catholic, and I was like, oh,
Hey.
you did that? I'm like, okay. And then after college, like I went to Texas A&M after I graduated.
Whoop.
And so
Nick.
Whoop.
Y'all sit there and nod.
Y'all had it covered.
yeah. So I think at that point, the depth was starting to grow into the faith of just seeing so many people on fire for God. Like that's where I started to really witness that this wasn't just something that you were born into. It was something that you like actively pursued.
Mm-hmm.
And so super grateful for St. Mary's and the community that I was able to build there. Had like my ups and downs in the faith in college, of course, but I felt like that was always a constant. Like that was a place I could go back to and kind of like recommit, and also just have people that were always like super accepting and open-armed, and like a lot of friendships.
And
That
did
was
you
really
get
cool.
involved like in leadership stuff at St. Mary's, the student group center there?
Yeah, my freshman year, I was pretty involved. I went through Welcome Weekend, which is like their opening, like, hey, come experience St. Mary's from your first few days on campus kind of thing. And so I was lucky enough to make some great friends there. And then from that, kind of segued it into a retreat-based ministry called SMIRT that they ran.
A bunch of blue people,
Yes, exactly.
right?
They
So
needed to be
close.
ministered to.
Mhm.
So
la, 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 la. We love the Catholic Church.
yeah.
The youth retreat team, I believe.
Yeah,
it
St.
is.
Mary's Youth Retreat Team, which is kind of like their
Smirt.
yeah,
SMIRT.
you got it.
Okay.
I
am so smart.
Yeah. So that was the thing. We
You
would,
need or
we-
not mention that.
Yeah.
There it is.
Austin, would you care to talk?
No? All good.
Wait, hold on. So,
There's a question coming.
I'm going
I can
back
see
in.
it.
I know,
can
but
see
you
it.
you interrupted right as he was about to.
did I?
Wait, hold on.
Wait.
Don't speak. Now go.
Let me get a word in edgewise.
He's going to take a sip while I say something. You're doing a great job. Hang in there. We're going to talk about business and babies and all sorts of stuff. So get back in there, Tiger.
You got it.
Did you just trash the floor?
Yeah, just drop my cap.
Jeff Scheffelbein hates trash.
Yes, he's talked about that actually in a previous episode.
It's third person.
It's gone.
Speaking of, go back and watch our previous episodes, and if you enjoy them, share with a friend.
Good job.
Thanks.
You
Austin's
guys
back.
smash the like button. I
That's
feel like that
smash
should.
it.
Yes.
Smash it.
Yeah,
Somewhere,
we don't
wherever
want
the-
any gently pressed like buttons.
Okay, so the faith in college. You actually have a business partner that also went to Texas A&M. Did y'all know each other in college? We're going to be interviewing him next. I need to get the scoop here.
Yeah, so I met Davis, my business partner, my freshman year at A&M, which would have been his junior year.
And what's his first name?
Davis with an S, D-A-V-I-S.
Wait, what's his last name?
Scott.
Why did he have that backwards? He has a last name for a first
I think
name
you
and
have
a
to
first
take
name
it up
for a
with
last
his parents.
Okay, we'll talk to him about that. Too.
Tom or Kara, if you're listening, what are
Wait.
you doing?
What are their last names that are also first names?
Well, it's Scott.
Similar.
The way that last names work, Paul.
they rhyme.
You could see Scott Tom, but I think Tom Scott flows a little better.
For sure.
So
Okay.
that one they got right.
Anyway, please continue. Now I'm pulling a Jeff and interrupting.
Totally Jeffing it.
So I met him through Aggie Awakening.
Mm.
So the the retreat through St. Mary's. I got in the fall semester of my freshman year. So I'm just a couple months on campus at this point. And I was lucky enough to get invited to that, or basically make the list.
Yep.
And Davis was as well. And so at that time, and Davis can tell his story, of course, like he was going through this big conversion of faith, like kind of questioning the Catholic Church and wanting to learn more. But I think he'll even tell you probably like really wanting to disprove his now wife, who was more on the Catholic side of things and still continues to be. So we were actually situated in the same table group at Aggie Awakening. And so that's kind of how we got to know each other.
You want to sell houses when you grow up? Yeah, me too.
Cool.
Let's get back to Jesus.
Right.
That's why I'm studying political science.
Yeah.
Did you go to Awakening, Nick?
My senior year, yeah.
You had to think about that?
Nice.
No, I knew
what
when.
year?
I knew I
Okay.
did. I was just thinking
Did
about
you go?
when.
Yeah, I went fall of my freshman year as well. I was lucky enough to get like
Selected.
pulled in the draft.
Good for y'all.
Did
Hope
you not? Did you not go to Awakening?
I didn't.
Oh no!
I didn't. I was busy.
Found in carpool and
Well, speaking
running for
of that-
student body president.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
The last time I ever rode in a carpool car, the program
Oh,
to
yes.
get people home safe if they've had a drink or don't want to ride with someone who has. The last time I ever got in a car, I was with my father-in-law's good friend. His name's Russell. We get in and I start telling him all about how the operations work, what they're doing, what they're about to read to us, all this stuff. And the woman's driving and the young man turns to me and he goes, "How do you know so much about this?" And I go, "I'm the founder." And I hand him my ID because I big time people.
Yep.
I hand him my ID and and he's like, "Why are you giving me this?" And I said, "Everybody's going to claim that they're the founder or they know the founder. Like, I am the founder. So when you go back to the headquarters later, you can say that you actually drove Jeff Scheffelbein home." And he goes, "Cool." And I said, "How long you been doing this?" He's like, "This is my first ride ever." I'm like, "All right, well, it all goes downhill from here." It better be Johnny Manziel if you're going to top this one. And so
Nice.
years later, I'm giving a talk with my wife, and Austin Wyble walks up because "You remember me?" And I was like, "You look familiar," which is just my line.
Nope.
And,
Yep.
and he goes, "I drove you home." I'm like, "That was my last carpool ride ever." So that's the beginnings of us, was when you were a sophomore or
Yeah,
something
sophomore
in
and junior,
college.
something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So, but you know, I
Awesome.
didn't go to Awakening. Back to you, Austin. Thanks for the ride home, by the way. It was,
No, you're welcome.
It was
I'm
a ride to the RV park where I was sleeping that night. So,
glad to do it.
yeah.
That was funny. I just had this the only vivid memory of that night to me was just how somebody in the back of the car says like, "Oh, I'm the founder of Carpool," and me thinking like, "Okay, cool," and then having him forcibly show his ID to me. Look,
No, really, I am.
Yeah.
Take a picture.
Only Johnny Manziel could be cooler than
Yeah.
this for you. I promise.
Or
Trust me, I'm Jeff Scheffelbein.
Yeah, and
or
I'm
as
like,
Jeff
yeah.
likes to call him, Johnny Manziel.
I gave a hold on. I gave a muster talk, an Aggie muster talk, was huge tradition. I gave a talk in like Meridian, Texas one night for whatever, Bosque County.
Yeah.
I get done, and I don't think it was that good of a talk. And the one guy who knows me in the whole crowd comes up and he goes, "Why'd you keep saying Manziel?" That was the entire compliments that I got for the night.
Nice. Crushed it.
You mispronounced every word in your talk. Well, if that's not the epitome of hyperbole.
Epitome. I
That's a
didn't eat
Brian
dairy
Regan
at the time, and they put me through the line first before everybody, and everything was covered in cheese. So I finished the line with a plate. It was a bad night. Love you, Bosque County.
Yeah. Maybe they'll have you back.
Spanish for forest.
County?
Bosque. Yes, county.
Austin.
Austin, back to you.
Sure. Where do we go?
Where? What'd you do after college? Where'd you go?
After college, so I graduated from A&M in 2015 and basically spent my last semester just applying to every advertising agency in the state of Texas, just saying, "Will you please take me?" And one person called, and I'll give a shout out to Ashley Mejia, who Aggie grad, worked at the launch agency in Plano. Don't think she's there currently. Maybe she is. Sorry, Ashley.
It's all right, Ashley. Don't fact check us.
Okay, shout out, I guess. She basically, I connected with her through the Aggie Network, which props to the Aggie Network as well. That was actually
Absolutely.
seemed like the thing that essentially got me an interview and got me in the room. And So I got to sit down with them and meet a lot of the great people at launch, and they gave me an offer to come on as an intern and then as an account executive within the ad agency space.
Awesome.
That was cool. So it got me up to DFW, where I'd never been before. So it was kind of like a whole new experience.
I'm so glad that happened.
Yeah.
Did they get free lunch over there?
We did get catered lunch sometimes.
And then you're in the agency. Keep going with your career.
Yeah, so at that point, I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. And it was a fun, fast-paced environment. Like, you're working with a lot of different clients in an account exec role, and I was working with Interstate Batteries and Promised Land Milk, and it's just kind of like a wide spectrum of things, which was fun. I did not feel a huge sense of purpose or connection in that role. And I think it was also coming from like a stage of life where I was just kind of lost. I was just figuring things out.
That's fair.
I was a young 20-something. And I remember going home that night and catching up with a friend of mine who had basically just put her job on hold. She was about to start a job at like a financial investment firm, and she put it on hold for 3 months just so she could go teach English in Indonesia. And I was like, that's neat. I don't want to do that, but I'd be open to doing something different, and it's seemingly radical. And so I just kind of opened up my computer like the next morning, like woke up on Saturday, and I just started to type in things that made sense to me, and eventually got to the point of like youth ministry positions was something I typed in. I was just reflecting back on like the experience I had with my youth minister in high school and how that made a difference in my life. And one of the first things that popped up, because I think I did like youth ministry internship or youth ministry for a year, something to that nature. And the Pines Catholic Camp is what the first link that popped up, and specifically their missionary, institute kind of thing. And I was like, that's cool. Clicked on that, watched one video. It's like, neat, applied. And I think I talked to Lindsay and got the offer a week later.
Wow.
And I'm just going to put in a plug here. Was John Egan the executive director at the time?
Yeah, he was.
I told him you were coming up to the studio today, and he was like, I got to see him. And
Yeah.
it's mostly because he wants you to office right next to us here at the Lucid. So we're at the Lucid private offices in Las Colinas. Lucid is all over the place, and they are a proud sponsor of the BeatiDudes.
Yeah.
That's right.
In fact, we got a hat right there to prove it.
Yes.
I'll put the hat on. Here, give me the hat. But he was like, we need to get the name of your company, Nail and Key. We need to get Nail and Key to office right here. And so you're not leaving here tonight without a contract.
Without a signed contract.
And
What'd you do at the
a
Pines?
shiny new office.
Yeah.
What'd you do at the Pines?
So at the Pines, their goal there was like, hey, this is a Catholic camp, built around faith, fun, and friendship.
I was a camper in 4th and 5th grade or something like
Very
that.
nice.
Yeah.
I was a counselor there in college.
Nice.
I went to family camp back in October.
Is that just what you call your family reunion?
It's camp. Man, family camp was awesome. Like outdoor adoration with all your kiddos. That place is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the spirit is very much alive at the Pines, and they really just want to bring that to families, to young adults, and to kids that want to experience it. And so for me, the missionary year was essentially an opportunity to enter into community and fellowship with other men and women about my age, like, post-college, kind of like trying to figure out what comes next in life, whether that's entry into like a different vocation or into another some other aspect of ministry, or maybe even like camp life, like maybe you feel called to that long term. And so that was kind of what I did. Is year round, like I was a summer camp counselor for the first 3 months, and then for the summer and spring I was on the grounds living there and facilitating retreats for high school youth ministry groups or Catholic schools, and even some like leadership style retreats, like companies could come out.
Confirmation retreats and stuff too would come out there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Did you use power tools in the off season?
Yes, always.
Yeah, I mean, fixing and working. I'm just trying to picture.
We were just kind of like we do anything and everything that was asked.
Yeah.
And they do have like a grounds crew of like one guy, but yeah, sometimes he needs help.
Can you call it a crew?
Yeah.
If there's only the one?
I
You
think
actually dropped the S in grounds.
Yeah.
Ground crew. I still think.
It doesn't work. Ground dude.
Yeah, I think in fairness to Ronald, with the way he worked, you could probably assume that there was multiple guys.
Oh, that's
So
there you go.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Props
salt
Ronald.
of the earth.
Crew of one. I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that for a year, which was like 6 days a week. Wake up early in the morning, facilitate a retreat all day long, go to bed, repeat, and you had Sundays off. And so at that time, I had started dating my now wife, Kimee, and so I'd get to see her like probably once a month during that time, and we had like started dating like right before I left. So we were kind of long distance during that stage.
Okay, so then fast forward to how does it come to an end? How do you know you're being called to something else? What was it, something else? You go back to the ad world?
No, I was finishing up that contract basically, and John Egan, the director of the Pines at that time, is still a good friend, and we were just having a lot of like heart to hearts about it, and like he was kind of seeing the end of his time there, trying to see if that could be like a resurgence for like, do I step into a role like that in his stead, and praying with it and thinking about it, and even and talking to Kimee about it. It didn't feel like that was where I was being called to.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal then was like, okay, we'll get back to DFW, figure out next steps, whatever that looks like. And so I started kind of interviewing and talking and asking around to see like what might be a good fit. I had an offer from Cristo Rey in Dallas to be in their kind of like work study program and helping out.
To go to high school?
Yeah.
Straight up Billy Madison.
The work study program for high schoolers.
So are y'all familiar with Cristo Rey?
Back
Like,
to
model?
school, back to school to
Yeah.
prove to Dad I'm not a fool.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I hate high school, and I hate all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, everybody else should go look up Cristo Rey. I mean, it's an incredible
Yeah.
way to get an education while you're also earning a real education, another education outside of there
Right.
by working for organizations. We think we're going to bring a work study program kit up here and split them across several of the Catholic companies up
Well,
there.
and
Like
didn't we meet one or two of those students at the pharmacy, right?
We
The
did.
St. Vincent de Paul
Absolutely,
pharmacy.
that's
Yeah,
right.
they were involved with that.
Social
so-
media and some other stuff there
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
Thanks
they're
for that reminder.
Yeah, so they're getting real world experience
Mm-hmm.
while so it's like sometime in school, sometime in job, and like back and forth between those.
But you didn't take it, did you?
No, so I
Spoiler alert.
Wee woo, wee woo. Let's
You
talk
got
about. I would like to talk about more jobs you didn't do.
yeah.
You know,
For sure.
you've never operated a steamboat that I'm aware of.
That's where you're wrong. No.
Oh,
He got you. He
I would
got
have kept
you.
going on that one.
He also
Chug, chug.
played for the WNBA. Don't know if y'all are aware of that. So
The Wyble NBA.
that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
that's the specific W. Yeah, thank you.
No, so I didn't take that job, and would have been a great job, but ultimately I was trying to find that connection, trying to find that right partnership opportunity, and so actually Kimee goes to this baptism party, basically, how Catholics do, and she's talking with Davis, current business partner, friend from college. They knew each other in college as well, and so Davis is getting at this stage of life where he's like, I think that I want to leave teaching, middle school teacher for Coppell, and pursue real estate as a means to like further the size of my family growth. Like that was his main goal, is how do we go from 3 kids to 800 on a teacher's salary, and it just the math doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah. So that was kind of his goal, and he basically just reached out to me as like, hey, I'm doing this, I think you could be good at it, do you want to do it with me? And that's very much as simply as Davis put it, as he puts many things simply. And so I spent 2 months discerning that and calling him every night and running through questions. So like when I got off at 7 o'clock, I'd call him at like 7:30.
Did you say, I don't care what the job is, I care why you asked me?
Yes, pretty much. I'd ask him question after question after question. And I remember Jenna, his wife, just being like, why the heck are you talking to this guy so much? This went on forever. And eventually I said yes, and so glad that I did. And so in 2017, we started Nail and Key, our real estate group.
Well, we're going to nail one for you right now by playing a little game before we talk about your family.
The game is Blessed are the joke makers, for they shall inherit the points.
That's right.
This one's going to be worth 77 points. Luka Doncic.
Love it.
Ooh.
All right, and we've got a character card and a Catholic card game card, and we have to answer the prompt or fill in the blank or whatever of the Catholic card game as this character. And you just get to decide which one you enjoyed the most, and that person gets the points.
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
here we go. So the
You
character...
did this once when it was sweat tent night in here.
Yeah, it was after hours and the AC had shut off.
Yeah.
That was rough. All right, so as a crazy cat lover, mea culpa, Father, I couldn't make it to Mass because of blank.
Mea culpa, Father. I couldn't make it. I couldn't make it to Mass because of hairballs. I'm from Nederland, Texas. The snort was real. The snort was genuine.
Mea culpa, Father. I couldn't make it to Mass because, well, Sprinkles got out of the house and he ran all the way. He's outside of Midlothian today, and he was so hard to find because he scratched his collar right off like he's inclined to do, and so we had to follow the trail of breadcrumbs. We found his collar. We didn't find him. We did find a pile of bones, though. That was unrelated. It was a KFC bucket, but he did come back eventually. We just and now we've got little kittens.
Don't worry about that collar.
Come on, Nick.
Come on.
You got this. You got this, buddy.
Mea culpa, Father. I couldn't make it to Mass on time because, well, you know, my cat Garfield, he just loves that lasagna, and I had 5 of them going in the oven. I thought I had them timed up just right, but I put too many in the oven, and none of them were cooking through. And I knew that Garfield, man, he just needs that lasagna 5 at a time, and if it's not 5 at a time, then that's just bad, you know. And so I had to get those lasagnas cooked all the way through for my cat.
You went so deep.
Deep in the lore. It was a good Chris Pratt impersonation,
It was
too.
odious.
Because he's going to be the voice
that's
of,
right, for
of
Garfield.
Garfield.
Yeah.
What say ye on a winner of today's challenge?
All right, let's give it to Nick and the lasagnas. Who doesn't
Let's
love a good lasagna?
Yeah.
I feel cheated.
Yeah, you really
I went
leaned
into
into
full
the
character.
hairball.
You went in hard.
I got a hairball out just for my method acting. But Nick, congratulations on your Luko Jonajic point total. Hey, for being our celebrity guest judge today, you're going to get a pair of socks from sockreligious.com. You probably got them last time, too. But this is St. Lawrence.
I don't have this kind, though.
And look, well, these just came out. I know you don't.
They're hot. They're hot off the press.
They're burning.
So there's grills and grill marks because he was grilled. It seems a little intense. But he's the patron saint of chefs. Chefs. I had to read the word.
Did you
chefs.
say
Chefs, not Jeffs.
And comedians.
What? Oh, no way. Well, yes, because he made a joke while he was being burned alive.
Yeah, flip me over.
I'm done on this side.
Yeah. So, Paul, maybe we'll get you a pair of these, too.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully it'll work.
Thank you.
Hopefully
For the
it'll
rest
work.
of
Thank
you,
Sacrilegious.
yeah, you can get your own pair of socks at sockreligious.com/BeatiDudes and get a nice discount, 10% discount. I actually think you just type in the word BeatiDudes now. I'm not even sure how it works, but
No,
it'll tell you what to do.
Yeah, into your internet box.
you know what? And we'll see you in a second.
Socks just show up.
The team at Aquinas Wealth Advisors believes that good values and good returns are not mutually exclusive. Using a tech-smart and morally sound approach, they provide investment alternatives that align with Catholic teachings without sacrificing returns. These days, faith-driven investors are finding it hard to know where their money is going. They have no visibility into what their dollars are supporting, but there's a better way. Thanks to the Faith and Finance Score from Aquinas Wealth Advisors, you can look into your current holdings to see what you're supporting and make a switch to an advisor that aligns with your values and gives power to your voice. Check out AquinasWealth.com today.
Hey, BeatiDudes, it's Jeff here. When Nick and I set out and we started this company, Undivided Life, we decided to not use traditional healthcare, but we went with Solidarity HealthShare because we thought it was an affordable and ethical alternative that matched the needs of our business and our growing families. Since then, my family put Solidarity to the test. We've had pregnancies, babies, emergency room visits, even a brain surgery for one of my children, and Solidarity has been an incredible partner and has also had the cost and the ethical approach that we love. Here's a link for you to go check it out. learnmore.solidarityhealthshare.org/BeatiDudes. This is your chance to be in solidarity with the Shufflebein family.
Hi, it's Paul Kolker from the BeatiDudes here, and I just wanted to share with you guys that I also, outside of the show, perform improv comedy on a regular basis with a group called Divine Comedy. So what we do is we come up with everything on the spot, so whether you're looking for faith-filled, fun, family-friendly comedy for your youth night, or whether you're looking for clean comedy for your corporate event, Divine Comedy can perform for your group and even get you in on the action. So if you'd like to hire us to come out and perform for your next event, check out DivineComedyImprov.com. Divine Comedy, an inferno of fun.
This is wonderful. This is a great show to not delete. Okay.
There's still plenty of time to delete this.
No.
Put your headset on. You ready? We're going to rock it. Here we go. We're going to talk about babies.
Stop what you're doing and listen to the BeatiDudes.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here with Austin Wyble talking, not steamboats, but just about anything else. And Austin, you've got babies.
Yes, I do. I've got babies. How
got-
about you?
You've got 3 of them.
Yes.
They came 2 at a time and then 1 at a time really quickly. Tell us
Yes.
more about that.
You got it. So my wife and I have 3 kids, Joseph, Pia, who are boy-girl fraternal twins, and then Marin, another girl, our youngest. And so we had Joseph and Pia are actually our adopted twins that were born on November 5th of 2021, and then Marin is our biological child that was born on October 1st of 2022. So we have an 11-month gap.
Irish
Triplets.
Irish
triplets. Yeah.
twinplets.
But even getting the twins is kind of a wild
Oh, yeah.
story.
Let's hear this.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a great adoption story.
Absolutely.
What happened to y'all?
Yeah. No, this would be a
better
great
be
time
good.
to have like Kimee like right here next to me who
Yeah.
could give all the details. I'll
You
do
would
my
make her
best.
sit on the ground?
Yeah. I'll make her stand.
I bet her head would just...
Just for those who aren't watching, that was just based purely on where he gestured. That's all. We weren't actually saying to sit her on the ground. Anyway, please continue.
You got it. So Kimee and I, we got married in 2018. And for us, we knew that we wanted to enter into family life sooner rather than later. Like that was an important aspect of our marriage journey. And so we were open to children pretty quickly and just didn't have any luck. Like we struggled with infertility for about 3.5 years. And during that time, like you grow in a lot of ways. You learn a lot about yourself. And so I'm super grateful for that time and how it's like strengthened our marriage and strengthened our inner fortitude and our faith. Just knowing like it's hard to long for something that's so inherently objectively beautiful and good and God willing, and yet it just doesn't happen because it's not God's will in that moment. And that was a challenge. And I can't speak for Kimee in this way, but I can say like it affects men and women differently.
I want to time out for a second because I know, and I know we all do, friends struggling with this, right?
Yeah.
Is there advice, a message? There's a guy listening to this, and this is his world. You just explained his world right now, so that stress or strain or longing builds you closer and doesn't tear you apart. I mean, because so many just fall apart over this stuff.
Yeah. Man, it's hard. One, it's like the first thing that you can do and should do, in my opinion, is just be willing to meet with them in that moment, and just maybe if you can't even relate, like you're sitting here with 5 kids talking to a couple that has 0 and just desperately wants them, and there's a level of like just entering into that shared struggle.
What about for the man who's in it though? That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Like, what about the guy was in your shoes right now? He's struggling with infertility. I mean, I have a friend right now that their marriage is on the rocks because of this. And like, how do you find strength when you're 3 years into this thing you're longing for? I don't know, or advice, in that side too.
Yeah.
Because I know you're describing me when you say somebody with tons of kids is talking to somebody, and I'm like, what did you say? I can't hear you. There's kids on me right now.
Sure. Yeah. The advice that I'd give is just please remember that your worth is not in your ability to be a physical father. Like God's love for you has not changed. God's plan for you is no greater nor less because of your current state and because his will has permitted this to happen in this way. And there's only so many cliches, of course, too, that can be added that are all good and true. I think cliches have been like, we've given this some, like this, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like a
Starts with
negative
D.
connotation?
Yeah, and we've given this negative connotation associated with the words and phrases that they come from. Just because you hear them so much doesn't mean that they're not any less true or heartwarming.
Yeah, they exist for a reason too,
They
right?
do, because
Yeah.
they're like, a lot of them are inherently just like good little truths. And so you want to apply that to the situation. So for anybody that's struggling with this, like the voice of the words that I want to give is like, I see you, I understand to a degree what you might be feeling. Every situation is going to be unique, of course. God still loves you. God wants great things for you. And, you know, I hope that we can enter into that in acceptance and just knowing like the good things are not necessarily always what you perceive them to be in that specific time.
Yeah. Powerful. All right, so let's talk about how your journey unfolded. So you went through the infertility period. You find out, were you on one of these lists, these agencies? Like,
Yeah.
how did you find out about that part?
So for us, it kind of went from like, hey, this isn't working, doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor kind of thing, just trying to find the right fit for who can understand us from a Catholic values perspective and knowing like, hey, these 10 options are off the table. Like, we're not going to pursue any of that. What else do you have? And that kind of came back with like finding some good guidance and support through Whole Life in Fort Worth, a great Catholic clinic.
They're awesome.
And just making sure that we got an understanding on how, Kimee's hormones looked and how, my health looked and what we can be doing about that. And that was super helpful. It may or may not have led to some positive results, but there was no direct connection to like, great, now we can have children or anything like that. And so that's when we started to open up the doors to, well, what does it look like to foster? What does it look like to adopt? Those were our natural next steps. And I think that there's a host of other ways that could have been appropriate. But for us, like, that's the first step that we moved towards. And so we got connected with an agency out of Fort Worth called Legacy Adoption. I have a friend that works there, and that was just like a conversation first. Like, we did like an hour and a half long dinner with her and her husband and just kind of picked their brains, and they were super generous with their time and kind of showed us a path for what it could look like to have, children in our life through adoption. And from there, I think we took another few months to just discern that, just pray with it.
Did you
talk
call
to
them
family.
every night at 7:30?
Yeah. I should have. I think I did. Jordan Ward is the friend who works there. She's amazing. And there were quite a few like random texts and things like that. And so she was super generous with her time. And for us, we were like, great, we know we want this, or at least we want to have children into our lives. And this is a route to get there. But it takes time. It takes quite a bit of money. It takes a lot of support. And it takes like a good amount of perspective, because the reality of like what they tell you when you enter into adoption is like, no matter what, there's heartbreak involved. It could be for you, or it could be for the family, the biological family, but there is heartbreak involved in it. And so you have to enter into it knowing that.
Wow.
You hope for the joyous outcome, but just understand like this is not, it's not the only outcome. So we were kind of praying with all that when we decided, like, yes, this is what we want to do. So we took a whole, in 2021, January 2021, we sat down and said, like, this is what we want to do. So we just basically committed to, we're going to work with Legacy, and we're going to save up for the next 12 months to be ready for January of 2022 to say, like, here's our application and our deposit and everything. Let's do this. And you kind of just move into that space then, right? And now you're starting to, like, be open to it, and you're starting to, like, see more things about adoption everywhere, and you're starting to see babies everywhere. Like, you're just kind of like, your mind is fixated on this. And so in October of that year, 2021, I'm scrolling through Instagram on our way to like a community group night with our friends, and I see a friend of mine post like about these twins, like about this adoption scenario that wasn't playing out for them. They were considering adopting these twins that were going to be born in New York. And she was just sharing some of like the struggles and finding out like how difficult the process is. Like, they weren't starting that. It was kind of just like thrown into their lap, and they found out relatively quickly of all the hurdles that would need to be jumped to make that happen. And so I just started sharing with her through Instagram message, like, hey, here are some resources that I've just picked up in the last like 6 or plus months. Maybe this is helpful to you. And then over the course of the next 2 or 3 days, got connected with her and her husband again, and just kind of like asked like, what's the situation look like now? And they had kind of like fully stepped back and just said like, well, we're happy to make an introduction for you and for Kimee if that's something that you want to do. And so that was like the very next thing. It was all kind of crazy how it happened. At this stage, like we're literally on a family vacation in Oregon. We're at this National Marian Shrine. Just happens like that's one of the first stops on our little vacation. And that's where we find out about like the introduction to the twins' biological mother, twins' bio mom. Her aunt is kind of helping facilitate some of this. Her goal is like, I just love for it to go to a good Catholic family. These twin babies, like that would be our goal. We're like, okay, I think we're a pretty good Catholic family, but no pressure. Like this is like the most like high stakes, like first impression kind of conversation I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And so we're just getting the chance to actually talk on the phone with the aunt while we're in Oregon, just kind of like trying to focus on a vacation, but trying.
Say, let's FaceTime so I can show you I'm at the Marian Shrine.
Right. Look how Catholic I am.
Yes, exactly. And so that's our first conversation, is just like a 10, 15-minute phone call of just like, here's who we are. Here's a little bit of our story. What are you looking for? What do you need? Like, how can we pray for you? We don't know where this is going to end. And this is our first ever conversation with any prospective adoption situation. There's no agency even involved at this point. I have no idea what I'm supposed to say and not say. Yeah. And yeah, we basically get there. That Sunday night, I'm talking with Kimee about this, and the aunt is like, hey, if you have like a book or something, like photos, like you could present to us. Apparently it's very custom. And I know this now, but I didn't know at the time. Like, it's the common practice is that you put together this physical binder about you and your family. Like, hey, I'm Austin. Hey, I'm Kimee. Here's where I was raised in this town. I went to school here. Like, different stuff like that. This is what we like to do with our free time. Pictures of us. We didn't have any of that. So I literally took like Instagram reels and made an Instagram, like a long, 10-minute Instagram reel, downloaded it, which apparently you can do, and then saved it as a video and texted it to her so the bio mom and the bio dad could view it. And then they basically received it, liked it, and said, great, can we have a FaceTime call with all of us tomorrow night?
Wow.
Which is, we fly back into Texas the next day. The day after that, Kimee has a pre-arranged surgery to remove an ovarian cyst that we had found through one of our doctor visits. And the doctor thought, hey, this may or may not be contributing to some of the infertility issues. And we'd scheduled this surgery 4 months prior. So we had surgery.
Goodness.
We had that surgery scheduled, and my dates are incorrect. We had that surgery scheduled 12 hours after our first call with this bio mom. And so we talked to her over Zoom and get a chance to meet her and ask her questions and make sure that she feels comfortable with us and ask us questions, all that kind of stuff. And within 5 minutes of that conversation, she was just like, yeah, it's you guys. I want it to be you. And I'd really love for you to adopt these babies. And would you like to do that? Yeah, we'd love that. That'd be great. Please.
Wow.
So yeah, it was wild.
Wild.
It's still hard to place yourself in that moment. Now it's been 2.5 years.
How long after that did you find out that you were pregnant with the next child?
Yeah, so that call, 3 weeks after that call, which at that point we had done absolutely nothing with our adoption. And if you know anybody that's actually formalized an adoption, it's quite a lengthy process to do background checks and house studies and to get financing in order and to just make
all
that
the
happen.
Things.
Yeah, usually on average they give you it's going to take 6 to 9 months is what they tell you. And so 3 weeks after that call, the babies were born. About 45 days later, we were pregnant with our third.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely nuts.
The parenthood looks good on you. Let's just keep going. I know your business partner has 7, and
Yes.
he went at a pretty good clip, but you're going at a faster pace if you just do the math. So
Yeah, it's a little reckless.
look out, Davis.
If you alternate twins and then one and twins and then one,
Every
you
year?
more than catch up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, every 11 months.
Yeah.
We've got 14 babies.
The oldest one is 7.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow.
We'll see
That's
what happens. We'll
that's
see what God
incredible.
has planned.
Well, so I learned a lot there. I learned that if you're, the moment that like you step out in faith and are open to life, it's almost like God just says, "All right, here you go. Let me bless you some
In
more."
abundance,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and then also that you can download Instagram Reels. That's,
Yeah, 2 things.
yeah,
Also abundant.
I would like to go into adoption agencies just so I can make those books. They sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make cartoon versions. Like I'm gonna get ChatGPT to make do the comic book version of Jeff and Amanda's story and what they're into.
Yeah. No, it's very craft heavy.
you have like 7 fingers on one hand because of the way AI. Anyway, never
Yeah.
mind. That was a niche joke. Let's keep going.
Jeff can jump over canyons.
Amazing.
It's just Jeff giving his business card to everybody that's driving in places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. This has been extremely special, and I always feel like we try to end these shows differently on every Monday. And today's show, I feel like, is just a chance to honor family and honor people who are also struggling with that, right? Struggling both with infertility, struggling with stepping out in faith. I think that's a great way to reflect on the story that we're hearing. But man, you, I think, nailed it home with this part that your worth is not determined by where you are in the life stage of biological fatherhood or if you are or are not called to some sort of a fostering or adoption, or if you're called into some sort of religious or consecrated life. So I think that your witness, now that we let you just talk without having Davis sitting right next to you, your witness is strong. How can people find you, buy houses through you? What's the way that people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so they can find me either online through nailandkey.com /Austin or just nailandkey.com. You'll find me there. I'm really not much on social media. You can find me in the St. Anne courtyard between the hours of like 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. most Sundays.
Wait, you're not on social? Is it because of all the abundant free time you have with
Yeah.
3 kids under 2?
Pretty much, right? Yeah, I just haven't had that connection with social media anymore, and I think it's like, what do you use social media for other than to connect with people? And I feel like we have just been so overly and abundantly blessed with an amazing group of people to connect with in person in life, and so
I'm hearing you have 3 babies. You don't need any more connections.
yeah.
You're usually pretty connected.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, I want to call out a thread that I've noticed in this episode. You started by talking about community in your hometown, community at St. Anne's, St. Mary's first, but now you've mentioned community at St. Anne's, but then I love that you are in real estate so that you help people basically find the space for their community, the primordial community, right, the family, and then you welcomed a growing community into your own marriage, very quickly. So it's really cool that you have such a community thread in your life.
Yeah, no, thanks for pointing that out, and I feel that deeply, and I do love that, and I just think we're blessed, and our motto is at Nail and Key in real estate is we help people go from where they are to where they want to be. And I think that's so intertwined in the people that we work with is they're looking for that sense of community. It's like they're buying that house to support their growing family, or they're selling that house to be closer to the grandparents, or they're getting the extra space to host their community groups more often, to be able to be that inviting sense. And that was so many of those things were evident in your experience, Jeff. And so I think that's special. That's why it's fun to be a part of, and it transcends, the 4 walls and roof that we talk about.
It's awesome.
Well, just so y'all know, if you're in town, Austin's hosting one of those fireside chats in my backyard in June. So you are a community builder, and, we wouldn't be the BeatiDudes we are without you. I'm not sure why that makes sense, but it does, and we all feel it. Fair?
It's accurate, yes.
Well, I appreciate what you guys do and for having me on and just being willing to engage in these conversations with other like-minded men. There's a special place in my heart for male community and the camaraderie and friendships that can be built here. And so that's why I love those fireside chats. I love the men's summit that we've been able to put on, coming up on year 3. And I just think there's something so powerful and so needed when it comes to getting good guys together to talk about the faith in real and tangible ways. So thank you guys.
Got nothing else to say other than, Austin, we will definitely be seeing you in the courtyard. And for the rest of you, we will
see you in the Eucharist.
God bless us all.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to join us at our undersized table, subscribe to the video version of the show on YouTube by typing @ that's the symbol @, so shift and 2 on your keyboard, @ the _ BeatiDudes on YouTube. We'll see you there.